Welcome back to the Stevens Motorsports Revved Up podcast, everybody. This week we've got something kind of special. Wouldn't you say, dear?
I would agree.
We got somebody who I never expected to meet on iRacing, which has turned into one hell of a friendship, some very goofy times, and one really interesting experience. We'll talk about that. So we're gonna break right on into it. If you've been a NASCAR fan for a long time, you're probably gonna want to hear this one.
You are.
And I definitely think you're gonna see a different side of NASCAR by the time you're done with it. So without further ado, here, go ahead and intro him.
Today, everybody, we are interviewing the Chris Sullivan. Do you want to know what he does? If you do, then listen to our podcast. Just keep listening.
All right, guys, let's get into it. Bringing nothing but news and chaos you can't refuse it. All right, guys, so today we have none other than Chris Sullivan. Chris, thank you for coming on. I know we've talked about this for a couple of weeks, and you were on our short list of first guests, so you get to be guest number 2. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm really excited.
We meet again, number 12.
Oh Jesus! Can we not get into that yet? Just so everybody listening kind of knows, kind of how me and you met. It was a really weird happenstance. I just happened to be in 87s one night. Didn't even know who Chris was. And we start talking in a random race. So it kind of gets us to the point of where we're at now. And there's some that we're going to backfill. But
yeah, it's just two goofballs racing.
Yeah.
And then we realized, we're like, wow, we're a bunch of goofballs. We should probably hang out some. And then here we are.
I got some goofy photos that we'll put in a little bit later.
God.
When we get into other parts of this. But so for those that don't know, and correct me if I get any of this wrong, your primary job is you are the social media photographer, videographer. Anything else I'm missing for
social media? Social media, I don't coordinate it, but I do it. Bodyguard. Yeah.
We haven't told them who for, though.
We haven't said who for.
No.
For none other than Richard Petty.
Yep.
Which is wild.
It's so funny because for me, he's always like, so I'm from the area, and it's like he's always just been a normal guy, you know. Right. And so like anybody I ever talk to, I mean, you hop on a golf cart and you're out around a racetrack, and it's pretty obvious who Richard Petty is. But it's like, for me, he's just like, I remember seeing him as a kid in Mayflower, which is a seafood restaurant. We're in the middle of North Carolina in a seafood restaurant, and it's like, there's Richard Petty. I grew up with it. He's just a guy.
Right. He's the guy that lives down the street that happens to be good at racing cars.
Yeah. His last race was when I was 8 months old.
We'll cover that too. But I think something that you have kind of a uniqueness for is the fact that obviously, you know, you've seen sim racing, at least on the oval side, at a high level. You know, you're fairly accomplished in that aspect. But you also see it from the professional side of things, and kind of, I don't, because you've been pretty much there since the next gen come out. You weren't Gen 6, right? Or tail end of it?
Tail end of it. I caught the tail end of Gen 6. And then I was there for the development of, so fun fact, if you listen to the Petty Family Racing YouTube channel, during the very end, there's a sound bite as a transition, and it is a sound bite from the test session for the next gen in Charlotte. So when you hear it go bah, 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 and it downshifts and it bah, bah, that's from a test session in Charlotte back in like 21. We're still wearing masks. It was crazy time.
Wow.
Crazy time.
That's so weird.
It's weird. Yeah. It's crazy how time flies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you're a little bit of a YouTube star via another channel. Most people probably would never guess. We'll talk about that in a little while too.
Yeah.
But that's how I knew what Chris looked like before I ever actually saw him on camera, which is funny. All right. Well, let's just break on into this thing. I guess, first off, how did you really get into doing the photography, the videography, things like that?
Yeah. So the elevator pitch is, I grew up a race fan. I liked racing and I liked movies. When I grew up, didn't have a lot, so I watched Days of Thunder, I watched Toy Story, and Twister, and Titanic. Those were my movies. Those were my four movies.
Don't tell her that.
Oh man,
good movies.
I grew up on them. I used to be able to recite Days of Thunder and Twister in the shower. It was weird. It's just I'm a weird guy, and y'all know that.
Right.
But essentially, I think that my love for movies influenced. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's pacing in videos. I can do everything. I can make graphics. I can take photos. I can do videos. But if it's pacing of it, and so my senior year of college, there was a gift. We'll get into it, but I went to NC State and I was a manager for the women's basketball team. When you're a manager, when you go to the conference tournament, you get a gift. My gift was I had options, and each option was like $300, right? And they had one that was for a GoPro, and I was like, I think that'd be cool. And this was the time where this was a GoPro Hero 3. This was the third GoPro. A long time ago. 1080p.
I got the 2.
Okay.
I got the 2.
Dude, so because you were in motocross. So that action camera stuff back then was it was fresh, it was new, and there were people that were really executing with it. So I just got it, and there's everything I did wasn't good, but at the time nobody else did anything. So what I did was there, right? Yeah. So I took that and I made some videos of our basketball team, NC State women's basketball, and made a couple videos, got myself a job at Wake Forest. At that time in my life, I wanted to be a basketball coach. And so I still know more about basketball than most. So I try not to get in basketball conversations with people, but I'm so far out of it now, and the NIL screwed everything up. So I actually don't know anything about basketball anymore. I watch NC State and I watch Carolina, and that's about it. So I went to Wake Forest, and I wanted to be a basketball coach, but I was hired as a video coordinator and assistant director of ops. I wanted to be a basketball coach. They saw my potential doing media. And so we kind of butted heads, and I was not a good employee. I'll just be honest. And so so that was in 2015, 2016. So at that time, and I can send you some clips, I was making 15-second videos to help recruit players to our basketball team.
Okay.
So what I've always done in media is I didn't even learn how to use a computer until my freshman year of high school. And then it's once I learn how to use it, then I make the connection, I execute, right? Right. And so started making 15-second videos just to recruit players for basketball. And then it turned out when me and my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, fiance, and we were like, wow, I'm traveling a lot and I don't like this lifestyle. I pivoted, and I pivoted at the same time we got married. And as we were talking about earlier, I usually do things in big swings in life. Right. And so made a big swing, gambled on myself. She bought me my first camera. My wife did. She bought me my first camera, a little cheap camera, this one, the one I stream with, Sony A6000. And I made a wedding video for a friend of ours. Her name is Kathleen. And she saw the little 15-second videos I was making on Instagram. And for some reason, she said, he'll do a good job on my wedding video.
That's pretty cool. That's a lot of pressure.
That's
and I charged her. I charged her $1,200, and I was like, if she pays this, she's crazy.
Oh,
But Kathleen, and I still love that wedding video. Kathleen and Alex trusted me. And so with that money, I bought more stuff.
Right.
Other people saw my content at that time, 2015, 2016, 17. The content is weird. We're in this weird space of it's square. It's like, how is your personal page professional? Like at the time when I was posting my professional work on my personal page, it was weird. So we all had to make it was a strange time.
Yeah.
It's still kind of strange, really, when you think about it.
It is. It's like, do you want your personal self to be an influencer, or do you just want to present your business? So
yeah,
this is not an elevator. This is an elevator up to the sky. So essentially went from there, did the basketball thing, did the wedding stuff, made some money, got a job, got a good job. COVID happened, and I worked for a transportation company at the time, and doing content capture, photography, videography, and I got let go. And I sat at home for March, April, May, June, and next thing you know, I start doing some work for Petty's Garage.
Yep.
On the side. And so did some work for them, and then it just kind of whirlwinds into where I am now. So
it's funny because, you know, it seemed like, at least on that side of things, much like with what I deal with in most of my stuff, word of mouth gets you to that next spot better than, say, applying and going, okay, well, here's my work, and what can we do? Yeah.
A lot of people fail because all they do is show their work. Right. And it's like, it's the what do you call it? The customer engagement.
Right.
It's the responding to the DMs. I still treat my Instagram DMs like an email. It's like if I have an unread message in my Instagram, that's a problem. Like, you send me a meme, I'm going to respond to it. Jesus. But here's the thing about us. I mean, we're all the same age. We lived in that space. We grew up in that space. So it's like, you know, well, I've just lived in that space and kind of pushed the boundaries in those space. That space.
Well, and I think our generation pivoted from the email to, you know, okay, if we have like an Instagram or a Facebook or a Twitter that we use as a professional thing, we've pivoted better than I would obviously say our parents pivoted into email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
we can rotate PDFs.
Yeah. Let's not even get going on that one.
Yeah.
All right. So, you know, obviously we've gotten to the point of how you wound up at working for Richard. What's a typical like race weekend look like behind the scenes for you? And I mean, I know the answer to this a little bit, but I'm gonna let you explain it.
So I grew up a race fan, and until I got a little backstage pass, right? The first time you go, and you guys did this. You go to a race and you sit in the stands and you're a fan, right? And then you go to a race and you go in the pits and you see the pit crew. There's people working, and you're just a fan there. The access is insane.
Oh yeah.
So it's one of those things where NASCAR is a traveling circus, and if you think about, like, I pull for state, my wife pulls for Carolina, and that game happens twice a year in basketball, once a year in football, right? Every single weekend we compete. Every single week we see the same people.
Yep.
So my race day, I've got it. Richard doesn't work in Google or email. Richard works in physical copies. So when we go to a race weekend, Jody she's gonna hate I said her name. Jody. Oh no, we said her name again. What are we gonna do? No, so but she's his assistant, and essentially he calls it his Blueberry Blueberry. No, because BlackBerry was the name of the thing. And so essentially you can look here and you can see like that's my schedule. That's his schedule. And so we have our departure time, we've got the tail number of our plane, and everybody in that. It's insane. There's so many people. So some people go out on Thursday, some people go out on Friday.
Right.
People like me go out on Sunday. Like I leave my house at 5 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning when it's Daytona. I drive to Statesville or Charlotte. I hop on a plane. I fly to the West Coast. I have to stop in Tulsa for an hour and a half it's an hour and a half out there. Stop for half an hour for fuel. Every Sunday's different. It's absolutely insane, the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard. It's hard to explain how quickly you have to operate.
Right.
But I tell you what, everybody, if you want to be in NASCAR, you got to experience it. It's insane. It is a traveling circus. It's the same teams. It's the same drivers. It's the same everybody. The people that announce the people on stage, it's the same people every week. We're just in different locations.
Yep.
That sounds like fun.
I think me and
Sounds
Rob,
like
it's a grind. It's a grind. It's 30 some weekends.
Well, I mean, me and Robin have seen it a little bit from the motocross front too. It's a lot the same, you know. It's not like stick and ball sports. You got the same riders. It's a lot of the same crew from Supercross to motocross. They just interchange because it's easy and it's an industry job. You know, same kind of situation. The only difference is you guys are dealing with it on a far more expensive front.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing about my experience in NASCAR is not the same as a lot. Like there's a lot of people, like I was in the media center this weekend. There's a lot of 22, 23, 24-year-olds out there that they went to Clemson and they followed around the football team. Yeah. Or South Carolina or Ohio State. And they fall. And like when I was in college, that position didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now we've got these guys, and it's amazing. And it's guys, and God, you would not believe just how many. It's so diverse on pit road now. Like it is. It is so cool. Because there are people from all walks of life. Like there's guys I'm standing next to on pit road that are taking pictures. It's a 60-year-old white guy that's been doing this since Richard was driving. Yeah. And then I'm there with guys and girls that just graduated from college. Mm-hmm. And they don't even own their own camera. They're using stuff that the team supplies them, and they're creating images that I couldn't dream about creating. Right?
Oh, yeah.
But here's the difference. I've been doing it for a long time, so I go in there with Richard Petty. I get in, I get out, and I go home, and it's fabulous. And they're there all weekend.
Yeah,
it's like when you go to the grocery. It's like when you go to the grocery store with your wife, and you're like, "We're going in, we're getting our crap, we're getting out." Whereas if you don't, she will walk around for hours.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sorry, dear, I have to give you a little bit.
That's
of
okay.
Shit.
Sometimes you need to put me on the leash.
But to the point of like, what's it like in NASCAR? It's different for everybody, right? And I'm a guy that I go down on Sundays, right? And Richard, like for Daytona, I'll go down there for a week with him, and you know, if he goes over if we've got something where he has to do something on a Saturday and a Sunday, I'll go for the night. And usually Richard's schedule, he's able to manage his schedule to where he can cluster things. He can put everything in a cluster. So we wake up at a certain time, and then we go boom, 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 boom. We knock out our 6 things in 4 hours, right? Whereas a lot of people don't have that luxury. So they're putting in 16-hour days at the track, and that's hard. And so you have to, NASCAR is one of those things, if anybody's watching this and you want to be in it, you got to love racing. You got to love racing.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much if you want to be in, I feel like any sport, you know, from the aspect that you are, or even like the crew members, like if you look at a lot of the crew members, even they're former football players and stuff that have transitioned. They already did this. Yeah. They already did this once. They were all in on one. So for them, the traveling circus is easy, but for a guy like you that didn't necessarily come from. I mean, you did to a degree with the whole basketball thing, but when you figure out when you figure out how you get to the race side of things, completely different animal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a piece of me that I'm like, man, I'd like to go maybe shoot some content for like the NFL or the NBA just to see what it's like. And then I'm like, no.
No. It's like
they need to come to a race weekend and see what that's like. That's what they all need to come to race and see what that's like.
And I feel like too, and this gets into the whole NASCAR losing its fan base stuff, but when you really get down to brass tacks of NASCAR, it's more laid back and personable versus that high polish. I mean, with the drivers you get some of that, depending on who we're talking about. But for the most part, it's a lot more laid back, a lot more go with the flow, and a lot less you have to be presentable for a multi-million-dollar contract kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess
we're gonna go off on a bunch of tangents. By the way, I live on tangents.
Oh, I know.
If there's an outline, man, I don't know.
So I'm gonna touch on one right now, and this is gonna be perfect because Robin actually shot this, and I will make sure that I put it in here after we kind of talk about this for a second. But what is something from your side that fans don't necessarily see? Because I know the one thing that we talked about before we even started the podcast tonight, and you said it to me and Robin at Daytona, is nobody ever sees the photographer.
Oh yeah.
So what is something from your side that the people don't see?
Man, it's like the guy in the vest. You're just over there, and you're just there, and you point your camera at stuff, and there's important things happening, and then you're just there, right?
Do you feel invisible?
Oh yeah. Sometimes I wish I was invisible. I wish I could just set up 360 cameras everywhere and just like place the camera within the world like an avatar. But yeah, it's very interesting being kind of in the position that we're in, is because I've met presidents. I haven't met them, but I've been there.
Yeah.
And it's like nobody ever talks about that person. It's like I'm there. Like I'm in there's a video of me and I'm there.
Well, and think about all the people you met in like the last year. I mean, I could throw up photos for days into this podcast.
Dude, the funniest thing is like I posted a video and I put a GoPro in my mouth. I went back to my roots. That's how I started with a GoPro. Put the GoPro and I have a mouth mount. And actually there's some folks from college, I ruined their social shot because Richard was there with Jimmy and I had a GoPro in my mouth and I'm like taking my pictures and I look like an idiot. Crap, where was I going with that? I'm such a freaking ding dong with my GoPro in my mouth.
We were talking about meeting famous people.
Oh, so I'm going down pit road and my whole thought was like, I'm going to show Richard going down pit road at the Daytona 500. It's going to be so cool. And I'm trying to get these shots and like there's a shot. And if you pause it, it's on YouTube. If you pause it, God. John Gruden, the football guy.
I knew he was there.
He's like there's a moment where like I turn, boom, and he's right there. But I'm 6.5 feet tall, and he's not.
He's short.
So
he's short,
and he's looking up at me, and he looks like a little kid. and it's moments like that where you're like, "What am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I here?"
Yeah.
Okay,
like how am I around all these people?
Now, hold on, because you did this grid walk, and I haven't watched the video yet. I still got to get a chance to watch it. But please tell me you ran into Michael, and it's like his face is like right there.
No,
because he's as tall as you and I.
No.
It would have been funny.
I've been lucky enough to meet Michael totally separate of. And I met Michael in my basketball life. And no, if I see Michael and Richard, I'm gonna get the picture and I'm gonna fade, like Homer into the bush. That's me. That's what I do. I get my shot and then I'm like, okay, I don't exist anymore.
I've seen that in action. I've seen that in action at Daytona.
Yep. Yep. And it's really hard when you're 6.5 feet tall because you just want to be like get the shot and then leave, and then it's like I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, it was like the night at Daytona when we first met up, the night of the truck race. I think it was.
Yep.
Or was it the truck race or the ARCA race?
Truck.
It was like the first.
Truck. It was truck.
Yeah, it was like the first night. Chris comes walking out of the back, and me and Corn stand up, and Robin's like, "You guys are really tall."
Yeah.
you gotta put that picture in there. It's hilarious.
It'll be in here for sure.
Because Robin's like this big.
Yeah. We'll talk.
Too.
We'll talk a little bit more about it here in just a little bit, but so I guess kind of sticking in the media side of things for just a little bit longer. How do you decide? I know we talked about this last week when we were talking about putting this whole thing together, but how do you decide what to capture when you're doing it? Or is it just like a feel thing?
Well, part of it's looking at the schedule, right?
Right.
But there's so much, and listen, I'm not the best at anything, but I usually look and see where moments are going to happen, right? Mm-hmm. So we meet Johnny Morris of Bass Pro, and we're supposed to meet him at Richard's bus. Okay, are we going on the bus? If we're going on the bus, Richard's bus is very dark because the inside of his bus is wood and rich dark leather, and he keeps it low because he's got a light sensitivity, so he keeps it it's so dark in his bus. It's insane. But then I have to have a flash, or I have to really be thoughtful of how I capture that, or do we do it outside? And so it's a lot of it's run and gun, because my part of being Richard's photographer is I'm capturing history, and my part is to capture the history and not be the history, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, don't screw up the moment. And so that's why most of the time it's a couple shots as best I can. It's totally fly by wire, but you plan as much as you can. But then in that last minute, that last second, it's fly by wire, instincts, get the shot, get out.
So I guess kind of off of that too, how do you know what you're going to take a photo of versus what you're going to do a video of?
Man,
same kind of thing, fly by wire, and just kind of hope that it works.
It depends. It depends on who the who we're appearing for, who the sponsor is. There's usually no directive. It's a lot of the times. I used to do a lot of video, so I'm a video guy. At my core, I'm a video guy. If everything hit the fan and you say, Chris, go make some money, I'd just go make videos, right? I go make reels and stuff. Problem is that I'm in a situation where, yes, that video that I create is going to make a reel that whatever. And it's not because I make it that it gets 1 million views, but it's going to get $500,000.
It's who's
cat
in
hat.
It. Yeah,
exactly. But it's like, do I want to share that as a reel, or do I want to share that as a photo? And the answer to that question is whatever I decide to do.
Well,
but it just, that's why I had a GoPro in my mouth at Daytona, because I had a feeling Kid Rock was going to be there, and photos live forever. Photos are forever. And I'm not a photographer, but I have transitioned into a more photographer role and less of the video stuff, unless it's like we're going to Goodwood and like it's a piece of content that can be 10 to 15 minutes that we can make some money off of.
Which, if nobody's seen the Goodwood video, you need to go check it out, because it's pretty fucking cool. And even the lead up with Kyle in the car was pretty badass, because I know how you shot that.
Yeah. So it for me, I would rather I try my best to capture photos.
Right.
Is how I'm leaning, just to capture the historical accuracy of the moment. And that sounds insane to say, well, why don't you just do it in video? And then you can just, there's something about, in my opinion, it's not right. and I'm, like I said, I'm not a photographer, but being in a moment and seeing it happen and hearing the conversation and that being their conversation, and then knowing they're going to laugh and then hitting that shutter then, and that's their moment that exists.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think that matters more. And until somebody tells me different, and in 5 years, I'll probably totally change my opinion and say, my God, why didn't I have a 360 camera going at all times? Right. But it's all by feel. And right now it feels important to capture photos unless somebody says, I'd like for you to video it. And well, I'm not a fan of putting putting my phone on top of the camera. I'm not a fan of that.
Well, I was going to ask the other thing, because obviously, you're using a DSLR, so you can do video with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Robin has take a video and then pull the picture out of the video.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of answered it a little bit with the whole, you're capturing that specific moment in the exact way that you want to. Yeah.
And there's fidelity in a photograph there's not in a video. Right. And I've pulled screenshots, and it's like, even I got the 360 camera. GoPro will tell you, do not use our photo mode. Take a video and pull a screenshot. It's the same codec. The color's the same. So, and so I do that with my 360 camera. We're just not there with the raw images in our cameras. And I don't think if we ever get there, I'm going to be really dangerous.
Unstoppable.
But
Chris
now
is going to have all these videos of people and tons of photos to pull.
Man, if in a different life, I would have just been a cinematographer, and I would have been a guy that I don't have to do anything but just hold the camera and make pretty frames. Right. That's all a cinematographer does, is you take a frame and you make it pretty. And I'm okay at that. And it's really hard to be good at that when I'm doing documentary stuff, which is what I'm doing right now, which is run and gun, which is Richard stepped off that way and the sun is over there and it's weird, and then you just have to figure it out.
Fair.
Sounds complicated.
Yeah. So is art.
But so beautiful.
I can't draw. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Complicated but worth it.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
So this kind of leads into a little bit more, because obviously you work for Richard, but you get to meet a lot of legendary people.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, and I say met by, you may have taken the photo, you're in the same room, you didn't necessarily get to talk to him, but you did the photos with Richard. I think it was at Charlotte with President Trump. There's all the Luke Combs stuff. There's Morgan Wallen. Obviously, Kid Rock recently. The list goes on and on.
It's crazy.
Do you ever kind of get to a point where, you have to shoot this photo? Obviously, you work with Richard every day, so Richard's just the guy to you. He's like your buddy. But do you ever get to kind of a point where you're like, holy shit, that's the president? Doesn't matter who it is, but you know what I mean?
Like Oscar.
Yeah. No. So I've never gotten starstruck, weirdly.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I've just never. It's just never. I mean, like I said, in a previous life, I stood shoulder. It's crazy. I'm the same exact shoulder to shoulder height as Michael Jordan.
Right.
And he's the greatest basketball player of all time, and I am me.
You never even got starstruck by Michael?
The thing with Michael is there's a presence.
Oh yeah.
There's a presence there's a presence about him that you can't put a finger on, and maybe that's starstruck.
Okay.
But the thing that I've realized, and it's also just being with Richard so much in conversations, is that, man, everybody's a person. We're all just people. Yeah. And when you get to be on, know somebody like Richard, who is I had a guy tell me one time, he told me, you're working now for an American icon. And I was like, American icon? And I was like,
he
that's
has a car in the Smithsonian.
yeah, but it's like, man, I remember like when I was 8 years old, I remember seeing him in Mayflower without his hat or sunglasses on. So he's just a guy. And then I think that, yeah, being in this situations with those people is cool. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, man, like everybody's just a person, and it's still cool. Don't get me wrong, but like everybody's just a person, man. Everybody provides value.
Yeah.
Everybody you meet, and it's some people are musicians, and some people are race car drivers, and then there's us. But
Right.
I don't know. It's still it's just cool. Because it just feels normal. I don't know. And I feel like anybody that's ever met Richard, and I mean, you guys have met him.
Yep.
I feel like it's one of those things where once you meet somebody like that, especially somebody like him that makes an intentional effort with everybody, like there's some celebrities that they don't make an intentional effort. Where like when you meet him, he makes it intentional.
Yeah.
He tries to, even if not. I mean, it's a hello and thank you.
Yeah, it's the way that he carries himself and how he presents himself to everybody. Even if the way he does it to me is the same as he does it to Korn or whatever, it still comes off as genuine, and I think it kind of gives you a little bit of a look behind the veil of who he is as a person, right?
Yeah.
So,
and the Richard Petty that I know and the Richard Petty that you met is probably the same, and I think that probably lends itself to me saying that I think everybody's just a person, and I don't really see. And if somebody, there have been those that carry themselves like they are they are who they are. And man, when you're with people that are who they are, that don't act like that, really gives you an opinion on those people.
Yeah, no, I get that. So before we kind of move on to the next section here, the last thing that I wanted to touch with you is where did I have it? How much of getting photos, video, stuff like that, when you go back and edit it, that you're protecting the authenticity of the situation versus, say, the hype of the situation? So I feel like it's like a balancing act. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously meeting a president, there's a hype to that, but it's also an authentic thing. Richard's met many presidents. And I think each one of those situations was very uniquely special in my own knowledge of Richard Petty history. But he's also met, the likes of AJ Foyt, being that they were technically in different scenarios in car racing, even though they were in the same area of time. You've got Dale Sr., Mario Andretti. I mean, the list goes on and on. So how much of that is a balancing act from your side?
I view things cover photo down, right? I see on my schedule that we're meeting Kid Rock. We did not schedule to meet Kid Rock.
Right.
It just happened. Pardon me. I got a picture here. Morgan Wallen, right? I'm scheduled to meet Morgan Wallen. Okay. I'm not. Richard is.
That's so cool.
He is. I'm not. I wasn't even supposed to be there. We actually had to, Richard actually had to say, I would like for my photographer to be there because he wanted to capture the moment. And that's Morgan wanted to be more private. And that's cool that somebody wants something like that to not even be captured. Like that's humble as hell.
Right.
But so I view it as I view it as a cover photo.
Right.
My thing is when the moment happens, I want to catch the handshake wherever I'm standing. I want to catch that. If it's great, that's the cover photo. And then what I'm doing is I'm listening. As a photographer, you get the unique situation like we've talked about to be in the room, to be in that moment, right? To be there. Like I've got the camera right there.
Right.
And so I'm listening to the conversation. I'm trying to get my cover photo. And I hope to capture, there's a YouTube channel called Every Frame a Painting. And when I click record or I snap a picture, I try my best, and I'm not the best, to make sure that that frame could be a painting, right? I'm not the best, but I'm essentially going for cover photos. And then if I'll get one and that's the cover photo. Oh, and then I get a better one. And so I knock it down.
Right.
And so I'm going for that first shot that's going to show up on your phone when you're scrolling. That's going to make you go, holy crap, that was Richard Petty with Morgan Wallen.
Mm-hmm.
And for this post, that was this one where they're not posed, right? Whereas there's other photographs like the one with the president where that one needed to be a posed shot.
Right.
And so I'm always getting a pose shot because he wants the pose shot and he makes the pose shot happen. And you can watch in the Daytona video, he looks at me and Jimmy sees me and Jimmy knows me. And so then they both were like, boop, they rotated and they looked at me.
Yep.
And that's, privilege of working with both of them. But you're going for the group shot, which can always be a cover photo, right? The pose shot with Richard can always be a cover photo. But like if you're working with somebody that's not a silhouette, Richard's a silhouette. Okay. Right. You're not working with that. You're working with a regular race car driver. You're working with a Joey Logano. And he is a biggest name in our sport. A lot of the times his photograph, his cover photo, his does not need to be a pose shot. It needs to be and so essentially the answer to your question is I'm just constantly seeking out that moment, that action moment where something's happening that could then be my cover photo that makes you double tap. Because at the end of the day, that's what I live for is a boop, boop. I'm addicted to that.
I mean, I can get it. I definitely could get it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So now we're going to kind of tie in to how the three of us all wind up meeting in a way, shape, or form here. Which again, we kind of talked about at the top of the show. You and I met. It was actually 2023.
Oh, wow.
It was New Year's Eve week because the 87s were in Daytona that whole week. And this guy is in there clowning around in every practice I'm in. Because at this point, I'm not even a high I rating. I just got into the car. So I'm like 1,500. Me and Chris aren't even in the same splits. But every time we jump into practice, we pick up the conversation where it left off. He's talking about working for Richard. And I think that was right about the time the Stapleton 42 video came out, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it was, yeah.
Well, go ahead.
So that whole deal came about because he reached out to somebody, I don't know how, he reached out to somebody at Petty's Garage, and they said, hey, there's this guy, he says he's got a YouTube. And you got to remember, when you work with people like that, everybody's got a YouTube, okay?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's got 1 million followers, right? So everything kind of has to be looked at. Right. And so when somebody says, oh, he's got a YouTube, and then it's funny because they said, oh, it's this guy Stapleton. And I was like, I watch his videos on my own.
Right.
So then I'm like, well, do you have his number? And then I'm like, oh my God. And so I'm over here because again, I've been a race fan my whole life. I'm sitting here like, I got this Mitchell Stapleton. I got his number right now. And so I'm about to text this YouTuber. Like, yeah, I just thought it was cool. And so at the time, so we just, he wanted to come look at the facility, and then I thought it was a good idea, and it turned out to be good. And it's funny because I cannot remember why. Oh, I got COVID. That's why. He was supposed to come and tour the house with Richard, and I think that was it. And he was supposed to, and I missed that day because I had COVID, or I was on the tail end of COVID. Right? Yeah, he did 2 days, and I missed because I was on the tail end of my COVID precaution. So I missed the house video, and then I was able to go with him and show him the doors to nowhere, on the old Petty Enterprises site.
Yeah. And, so for those that don't realize, in the Stapleton 42 video, you see Chris for the first time actually in the museum, and they're talking about Richard's last ride leaking all over the ground. And then, Chris shows him the doors to nowhere, which is so bizarre.
And then I'm over here. I had COVID, so I couldn't get a haircut. So I wore a hat and I looked like an idiot. So it was fine.
It could have been worse.
No, it was fine. And it was one of those situations where it was a collaboration that, I mean, I saw the views on his videos did good, but they didn't do as good as I hoped, right? And what is it that you hope for, right? What's the number you hope for? But it did good, and I think it helped everybody, and that was actually a lot of fun. It was really cool to meet him, and he was actually looking for a house in the not local area where I'm at, but he was looking for a house kind of to get out of Charlotte.
Vicinity. Yeah.
And he was like asking me kind of what he thought about where I was, where I live, or what I thought about where I live and all that. So it's been pretty cool how, like, a guy I watched on YouTube reaches out to the company I'm working for, and next thing you know, you got a friendship. It's pretty cool.
It's kind of cool how that happened.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us too kind of, a lot of us create content, but we all kind of watch each other's content, even though we might have talked about it a week ago. I still go back and watch that Stapleton video because growing up, I was a Petty fan. How could you not? I remember watching the last race. I know you were probably in diapers at that point. We'll get to that in a minute. But the one thing that I want to kind of tie in a little bit is obviously, like, as we've been talking, you're in the NASCAR world. How do you think that the sim racing side of things helps people understand the sport that you live every day?
Man, I got into iRace. Go ahead.
Because I know there's a lot of industry guys, not just social media guys like you. There's you've got guys that work in the shops. You've got guys that change the tires. Jackman,
Carson Hocevar on iRacing all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. But I tell you what, iRacing for me, I downloaded it because at the time I was doing a bunch of side gigs, so I had some extra cash, and one of my side gigs was Richard Petty Motorsports, right? And so one of my best buddies, Bradley Sisson, I've actually got his drawing. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
He drew this for me.
Wow.
I've seen that before, but that's sick.
Yeah. He's a stud.
That's really cool.
And so he's actually the one that he's my intro into NASCAR because he was working for Richard Petty Motorsports. So shoot, where was I going with that?
How iRacing.
I got talking about Bradley.
Yeah, how you wound up on iRacing.
So he would design the paint schemes.
Yep.
And then at the time, COVID happened. So iRacing was like, oh, we could put our paint schemes on these cars, and then we can take pictures of it, and we don't have to pay somebody to do a 3D render. We can do it ourselves.
Yeah.
So then me and Bradley are sitting in my living room, hanging out, having a great time, drinking water, and we're just making paint schemes in iRacing, right? And it's great.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Right.
And so that's literally how I got into iRacing, was because we needed to make paint schemes for the race team.
That's
and
cool.
At the time with Richard Petty Motorsports, the budget was none, right? And it's just me and Bradley hanging out. He's a full-time employee. I'm his buddy, and we're just making stuff happen, right? And so then I'm like, all right, well, now I'm gonna start racing this thing. And then I don't know. And then you just fall in love with it, and I got chat banned once, and that's how I got on Discord.
Yep. I think I remember that. I think I do remember that.
Yeah.
So,
AJ, have you ever been chat banned before?
I got protested for saying the word shit once, and they just gave me a warning. They gave me a warning.
Okay.
I've said some shit too. I have told people to pull their head out of their rectum.
Yeah. Well, I wrecked Nim Cross. So
Oh.
I hope he watches this because Nim's a fan.
I hope he does. Because I honestly, like, I am a totally different person than I was then. I'm not totally different, but I definitely don't get that upset
right.
when I'm racing anymore.
So
like, I'm more patient in life now, especially in the sim.
Kids will do that, but
God, that's right.
So I guess to kind of tie back to the question, do you think because if you're if you're a fan of racing and you get into the iRacing side of things, do you think because you understand what's going on in that car a little bit better, you can relate more to the real world side of it?
I've talked to drivers that will tell you iRacing, yeah, the bumps are in the right spots.
Right, but you're talking drivers. I'm talking the average race fan.
But I will say, y'all know better than anybody else because y'all race too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're at Nashville, right?
Right.
Or you're at Daytona in the 87, you're coming out of 4 and you run out of track and you're about to hit the wall, right? Mm-hmm. Or you're at Nashville and you're in a cup car and you're coming out of Kansas and you run out of track.
Yep.
You see that on TV and you don't get it. Like you just see, you're just like, they come out of 4 and they shoot up the wall.
He's fine. He just smacked the wall.
Go down the front stretch. And it's like, no, when you do iRacing, it's not perfect. Okay, I get it. To some of the people that say, oh my God, it's not perfect. Yeah, it's not perfect. Nothing's perfect. But when I'm watching the race and I've raced on the same track in the same car in iRacing, I can watch that car come off of turn 4 and I can tell you if he's tight or loose. Not because I'm looking at the screen because I'm a racer and I know what's happening. It's because I've been in the sim, I've been behind the wheel, and I can see what he's doing.
Oh, yeah, you can see what he's on the wheel like an SOB.
Yeah. I feel like it might not be perfect, but it's close enough. It's close enough that if anything, having iRacing and hopping in the sim, which I haven't been able to do as much, it gives me so much more understanding of the race that I'm watching that week.
Right.
Yeah.
Personally.
Well, I think that's true.
And I think people in the industry would say the same thing.
Well, I think that's true too, because I mean, Robin has seen me lately with the NIS, and it follows obviously the schedule. So we had Daytona, we've had Atlanta, we're going to Coda this week, and you see how I struggle or the guys around me struggle, and then you see what actually happens on TV. Now, there's certain things that obviously, to my opinion, don't always translate. Let's look at Tyler Reddick with the ripped off front fender, and he still wins the race. If that was iRacing, you'd have been in the back by the end of the first lap. Yep. You know it. I know it.
Things can't predict.
Yeah, there's just I think there's certain things that the sim is trying to duplicate that they can't necessarily get there yet. But I think for you know, and I love this acronym, the DARF.
Yep.
It works great. We get the gist. We understand that, you know, because I think the first time you ever get on iRacing, you start running around the track in a street stock. You're thinking, this is going to be fun as hell. And you're like, this sucks. This is terrible. Yep. I need to learn how to get my head out of my rear and figure out how to drive this thing. So
yeah,
I think, to me personally, I think it translates quite a bit, even if it doesn't give you 100% of the realism.
Yeah. The only thing I wish iRacing would do is that, like, when you're doing officials, I wish it was a more gradual step into faster cars. I feel like in iRacing, like, you can hop into a pretty quick vehicle and be good at it at a lower license level. But also, man, if I look at Race Labs and I see my chart on Race Labs, it depresses me for how much I haven't raced. But I tell you what, my subscription, like I said, 2 kids, schedule's crazy. If I can get on 4 times a year for like 5 or 6 races, man, it's worth it.
Yeah.
He's talking about Daytona and Talladega in the 87s.
Super speedways. Yeah.
Hey.
Find him there most nights.
Dude, AJ will text me. He'll be like, hey, you do know the 87s are at Daytona, right? And I'm like, I do now.
I do now.
All right. Well, and we're going to come back to a little bit more of that here in just a few, but I kind of want to get your take on, like, the state of motorsports media today. Obviously, when we were kids, you had Sports Center. You had like TNN would have their stuff for NASCAR. You had MRN. But now it's like everywhere. You can't go to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. NASCAR's got their own stuff. Dale Jr.'s got his podcast. You've been there, lucky bastard. But in your opinion, does it water it down too much?
No, I don't think so. You know, they say every white guy has got a podcast now. What's up, AJ?
Guilty?
No, but here's the thing, is that it's all valuable. It's because, yes, there's going to be a gazillion people that listen to Dale Jr.'s podcast. Nobody should compare themselves to Dale Jr.'s podcast. That's Dale Jr.'s podcast. Right? And that's why, like with the Petty Race Recap, I don't compare our views to that, right? And I don't think anybody else should either. But I think that anybody that like Eric Estep, I mean, God, I've got a laundry list of guys I follow on YouTube that they cover racing. And, you know, NASCAR got into a little bit of trouble a couple years ago with, you know, some Reddit moderators getting whatever passes. I don't know. That was something. I don't know. But I don't think it waters it down, because it's a free market. I view it as a free market. If you try to regulate it and you try to say, oh, well, we're only going to have these people, then we got to have competition. We have to have disruptors come in. We have to have people that don't know the sport that come in and look like goofballs to themselves, right? And that's fine. I don't have a problem with, personally, I don't have a problem with people creating content around NASCAR, because somebody's going to hit on something that nobody's hit on before. And if we don't have people trying, then what are we doing? We're not progressing.
Well, and I think too, the one thing that I look at, okay, you know, if we talk about the 90s, early 2000s, like I said, we had Sports Center was about like one of the only places you could get the stuff. Then the advent of YouTube. Now we've got guys making obviously long form content, but now it's all flipped. I mean, you look at like Breakhard on TikTok, he covers everything NASCAR. You've got, oh God,
NASCAR bought J-Ski, bro.
Did they?
J-Ski, dude, that was a long time ago.
Oh God,
dude, J-Ski was like a comedy, it was like a meme site, comedy site. NASCAR bought it, so yeah, I mean it's.
Well, and then you've got, well, like I said, now you've got Breakhard, you've got the Above the Yellow Line group. They're doing more short form stuff. Do you see, I guess, as far as like NASCAR media goes, do you see a lot of it going more short form as things progress, or do we kind of keep that balance, because there are people that want, hey, I get my stuff in 30 seconds or less, or then there's the people that want the more in depth?
We're at a weird point now, because, you know, it used to be you had to go live. And then now it's like, no, you don't really need to go live, but you should, like, depending on what your content is, you should go live. And when I started, it was 15-second videos. TikTok was Musically. And so it's always evolving. And you got people like Cletus McFarland that go on there, and, you know, he's making long form content that people are consuming millions of views.
Right.
And so I don't know, because, you know, NASCAR's done this really, NASCAR media, NASCAR Productions is really cool. I don't know a lot of people there, but I don't think people realize how much money NASCAR puts into production and media. For instance, like if you've got a Hollywood movie, Interstellar, and it costs $200 million to make, they're going to spend $200 million on marketing.
That's wild.
NASCAR, I don't know what their budget is. I don't want to know. But I know that NASCAR Productions used to be very tight with what they would let you use, from what I've heard way pre-COVID, right? And now it feels like NASCAR, and from all the people I've seen using, because like when you're on site at a NASCAR track, NASCAR owns what you create. When I click record, Richard Petty owns it, but NASCAR owns it, right? And so, but NASCAR, I feel like when we ask NASCAR for something, we don't really get told no, and I know it's because I'm working with Richard Petty. But even when it was Richard Petty Motorsports and it wasn't coming from Richard Petty, we didn't get told no. Like NASCAR NASCAR wants you to promote the sport, and so NASCAR's helping. And I just feel like, man, if NASCAR's in a great spot, and I don't know if I don't. That's not. I'm telling you, man. If you want me to stay on topic, I'm sorry. I'm going to go off on a gazillion tangents, but we're in a fantastic spot as far as me. I think we are as far as media goes, and NASCAR has done a really great job of allowing people more access.
Well, I think too, nowadays you hear a lot more about the background. I mean, take the Chris Gabehart stuff that's happening right now as we speak. We never would have heard about that back in the day. Now, is part of that because of the advent of social media? And this is where I'm going to pick on you for a second, Ray Evernham. You know, we all we all know the situation that was the '98 NASCAR season.
Yep.
Here comes Ray Evernham. We all know the situation that was the '98 NASCAR season. Gordon does the 2-tire thing for I don't know how many races. There's a whole lawsuit, possible tire doping. Nothing was ever found, but we never heard anything more about it. It just kind of went away, right? Now, if something happens, it's everywhere.
There's follow-up.
There's no hiding it. The fights in the garages. You know, there was the whole was it Boyer that chased down Gordon or Harvick? It was all on camera. You know, you got drones that can cover all that crap. So it's like you can't hide it anymore, right? So I think to a degree, yes, NASCAR is giving us more of this, but there's one thing, and I kind of want your opinion on this because me and Robin have seen it with the motocross side of things. When riders get into a fight on the track, they get fined, told don't do it, you're put on probation. But the thing that is really funny is you're told don't do it, but we're going to use it in a hype video for the rest of the season.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like NASCAR's not necessarily doing that, but I feel like it's like with this Chris Gabehart stuff, it starts to open that up of, you know, are we going to cover that as a media thing throughout the season? Is this going to be a whole thing? But hey, you're going to get fined for it.
Yeah, that's way out of my purview. So if purview is a word, I know that when it comes to when I pose the questions so I tried my best to listen to the teardown at the end of every race. I watch every race. I feel like I have a pretty good thumb on the pulse of what is happening. And so when I pose the question on Twitter and Facebook, X and Facebook about, hey, what questions do you want the King and Dale to answer? I feel like I ask questions that are going to elicit a response from Richard that is a response that's going to be for him responsible, because he's always going to answer things good, but also I'm pretty cued into how I don't know how he thinks. But I have an idea, like when I asked him the Carson Hocevar question. I had already heard him mention to Kyle on the bus that he thought the racing was like Dale Earnhardt. So I was like, I have a feeling he's going to say Dale Earnhardt. And then that's going to get me some views. That's going to get some views, right? Which is his. But you pick things up as conversations come up throughout the race weekend. It gives you something for the content later on. Exactly. And so I think that it's a double-edged sword because NASCAR doesn't want some drama, but NASCAR lives off of the drama.
Yeah.
And listen, I have learned because what I sell are double taps, reshares, and that's what I live off of, right?
Yeah.
And if nothing happens at the racetrack that Richard Petty can have an opinion on, my stuff doesn't get views, right? And it's not my stuff; it's his stuff. It's him, right? And I record it, I capture it.
You're the man that puts it together.
Yeah,
right.
So I think NASCAR is in a unique situation. I think they're doing a fabulous job. I don't want the job, and I think they're doing good. I think NASCAR is doing a very good job. And I'm not a company man. Y'all have heard me talk. I'm not a company man, but I mean, they let things happen. They let things play out. They're letting things play out now. It's a hell yeah year. And I feel like NASCAR got hit in the mouth with NASCAR, right?
Yeah.
But man, I don't know why, but man, it feels good. I'm excited to be a NASCAR fan.
Yeah, I think, I think this is the most excited I've been about a NASCAR season in a long time.
Even when the racing's kind of goofy, like at Daytona, but whatever.
I'm not even looking at the racing side of things. Like, I'm looking at, okay, and I'm just gonna say it. I fucking hated Steve Phelps.
Whew.
Hated him. And with a passion. He was a stick and ball man that tried to use his marketing tactics that he used for the NFL in NASCAR. It doesn't work with racing. We already know it doesn't work with racing. Racing's not even close. So I think, especially after hearing Steve O'Donnell talk this week about, we lost a lot of our fan base and we've got to figure out how to bring them back, and they're slowly steering the boat back. Yes, it's like driving the RMS Titanic, but are you going to get 100% of those people back? Probably not. Me and Robin, Robin's been there when I've talked to my dad about NASCAR. He has no interest in ever watching the sport ever again.
Yeah.
In his opinion, they have taken away the blue collar man sport, turned it into more of a white collar sport. You're going to be hard pressed to get those people back. You're going to have to prove something. But I think you're right. I think NASCAR is finally turning things around. I mean, you probably see it more than obviously I do, but I don't know. I'm excited to see where this season goes and where we go next. Whether that's some improvements to the car, things of that nature, I don't know, but I would like to see improvements to the car because I think we all know that the racing at Daytona was left lackluster.
Yeah. But also, like, I like the fact that, like, Carson Hocevar, Ross Chastain, they get to race. NASCAR ain't done nothing. It's fun.
That's true. That's true.
And it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you that. Okay. So the next thing I want to kind of get into is, and I think this is right up your alley. What kind of advice would you have for aspiring media creators? I'm not even just talking social media. I'm talking, if you're doing the YouTube thing, you're doing the shorts thing, whatever you're doing, like maybe how to break into the motorsports side of things, gear stuff, things of that nature.
Good question. I'm not the best at anything. Okay. I'm not the best graphic designer, but I can do it. And I'm not the best logo maker, but I can do it. I'm not the best photographer, but I can do it. You gotta be willing. You gotta be a sponge. You gotta want to learn all the time. And you gotta, my buddy Bradley and I, the guy that did this, that drew this, we had this pipe dream one time of creating a podcast called Working for Free. And if you want to get into this, business, racing is fun. Racing it's Disneyland, right? But you're not going to make a lot of money at first because it is fun and it is an opportunity. And when you do it, you're not, hopefully there are some people making good money. But you just take every opportunity. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
I strangled myself. I didn't put out content I should have because I was worried it wasn't perfect, and I should have just posted it. What it would have changed in my life? Nothing. I don't know. Who knows? But just like nothing has to be perfect. When it comes to content, create it, put it out there, see what it does, and move on. Every post every day is a new opportunity, and just work at your craft, watch YouTube videos, learn new things, and be open to and do what you love. Like if you get into if people do it all the time, if you get into motorsports and because you enjoyed it as a fan and you get into it and you start taking pictures and you hate it, get out of it. Get out of it.
Yeah.
Right. And there's some people, man, there's some 22-year-olds. There's a 21-year-old. He's taking photos at the Olympics, and it's like, I couldn't imagine doing that when I was 21 years old.
Right.
You know, and it's like, because, you know, the technology's better, but just whatever you're doing when it comes to social media. When I first started Sullivan Productions, which was, I started in 2016, and I had this vision. But one of my things on there was, I create media to spark an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
If you go on my Instagram, we just closed on our house, and we're closed on building a house. And I love the movie Twister, and I love the intro shot and the helicopter pushes
That was
down.
really cool.
And it's like, man, I took that and I did that with my drone, and I set the music to that, and I put it out. I just put it out there. Just put it out there, man. Just put it out there, because somebody's going to like it. And
Well,
there's a chance that a lot of people like it, and you don't know unless you put it out there. But do your best at it.
There's something that you said that I think a lot of people put too much emphasis on, and you hear people talk about it on social media, TikTok. Me and Robin have talked about this. There's this want for it to be perfect, and sometimes it not being perfect is what actually got the views.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you dropped the camera? That's the best part of it, because then it's real.
Funny. People love
real.
funny.
People like real.
Yeah.
Dude,
they like relatable and real.
Yeah.
Yep. Man, when I used to try and make things so polished. Oh, man. And it's so funny, because there's some stuff I look back on that I created that, like, I thought was polished, and I thought it was the stuff. And I look at it now, and I'm like, it's so bad.
You cringe
it's like
at yourself.
cringe. It's so bad.
You're like, why did I do that?
And I'm creating stuff now that, like, man, I have had so much stuff in my head that, like, I've wanted to create. Like, there's a video of Richard signing a hat, and I've got a 360 GoPro camera. It didn't turn out remotely how I wanted it to. And I'm 34, so when I was 26 starting out, I wouldn't have posted it.
Right.
But little experience, right? And just saying screw it, right? Like, it's not perfect. It didn't turn out how I wanted it to, but somebody's going to see it, and somebody's going to like it.
Right.
And it turned out that reel did really freaking good, and it might have done better because my version of polished is crap. And my roughing it and throwing it together might actually be good, and I'm just not in sync with what's good.
Right.
But I know how to create. I don't know. That's where I live.
And I think this kind of leads into another thing that I was going to ask you about, and I don't know if this is really even a big issue at this point, or something that you need to pay attention to, but like gear versus skill. You know, we talk about in the sim racing world, you can go out and buy the super expensive stuff and you can still suck, or you could be on a Logitech and just kicking ass and taking names. I feel like, and maybe you could tell me if I'm wrong here, you know, and this is again something that me and Robin have talked about. You don't necessarily have to have the best stuff these days for photography, because a lot of people like the look of the old disposable camera look, or the Polaroid look, or that grainy look. People like the vintage stuff. So is it necessarily pertinent to get high-end gear?
Absolutely not.
That's what I thought.
You know, in the photography world, when I was starting out watching a ton of YouTube videos, and I've reached that point in my life where, like, I'm on that dip where, like, I know what I don't know. I know that I don't know nothing. Right.
Right.
But it's yeah.
Because I feel like, and you know, I've seen a lot of your photos, and some of them aren't always super polished, but you've got
No.
like it's a lighting thing, or it's a shadow here or a tweak there, and I feel like the skill side of it outweighs the spending on a mass amount of gear.
The thing is that photographers will tell you when you're watching YouTube videos is that the best camera to have is the one you've got on you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, if you're trying to break into iRacing, if that's a G29, that's a G29, baby.
Get after it.
Strap it down as tight as you can. You know, if you got a rolly chair, find a way to get locked down and race.
Yeah.
I have a roller chair.
There you
That's
go.
what I use.
Just lock her down, baby.
Yep.
And so my A6000, I could take that joker to the racetrack tomorrow and because I'm in the right situation, I could get 1,000 likes on a photo, right?
Right.
Whether it's on that camera or that one, right? So the best camera you've got could be your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
These things are great now.
Oh yeah.
And so that's if you want to do something, just start at zero.
Right.
And then gas is a real thing. Gear acquisition syndrome.
Oh,
we've talked about that.
Good. Yeah, we have.
We've talked about it. But man, I'm telling you, because what you'll do is you'll say, "Ooh, if I just had a wide angle lens, if I just had hydraulic pedals, right? If I just had
nothing about them,
but you know, because dude, I mean, you know better than anybody else. It's like you can get to 5K on a Logitech, you can get to 5K on most expensive gear.
Well, in I've even seen it in the racing world on a real front. But we've seen this in the motocross world too, where the next big thing comes out, right? I'm talking at one point there was this whole focus on pulling the front ends down and getting everything closer, or the 4-stroke movement. Everybody did all these things, right? We've had all sorts of fads in whatever form of motorsports you're talking about. They buy all this shit, and then within 6 months, it's on a fucking shelf back there, and they never touch it ever again. And then they go 10 years later, they go, "You remember when these things were cool? Like, that was the shit back then." Yeah, why'd you stop using it? Well, it didn't really work.
Yep.
Same idea.
It was the shit, but it didn't work.
Yeah, it was so cool. Placebo effect.
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I like I said, I've seen people take. There's people that could take the best photos in the world with a cheap camera, right? And there's people that with the best cameras in the world that, I mean, they don't know what to point it at, right? And so, just if you're trying to start out, start somewhere. And sometimes if you're on the cusp, sometimes you might need to buy that thing,
right?
That then gives you some fidelity that maybe you just didn't know existed.
See, and
that's why that was a message to my wife that yes, every now and then I'm going to buy something unreasonable.
Well, and here's the thing too, right? Like me and you have talked about this. I just got a DSLR within the last year. I stand by this, and you're probably going to cringe. I seriously think my dad's Nikon 35mm takes far better pictures than that DSLR, and but I grew up shooting with that.
Yeah.
Like, I remember going to the races, taking pictures of my dad and everybody. I used that camera. I knew it inside out. I knew what I could do with it. Even if you can't instantly see what you took, you knew you got that shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
it's what you're comfortable with. Yeah.
But in the DSLR is a learning curve, but you know.
Yeah.
You guys, my wife, I fight with it every time.
Every time.
She's like, "I don't like this. Let's just use the phone."
Yeah, it's too much.
I tell people sometimes I was on pit road in Daytona, my first Daytona, and there was a girl on pit road, and I had seen some of her content,
and
I just was like, hey, hey, nice to meet you. And I looked at her camera and she had it on automatic.
Oh man.
And it's like in the photography world,
That's like a sin.
That's a sin. But I'm like, dude, she's crushing it. So then you know what I did?
Stuck it on auto.
I threw it in auto.
We're going to try something.
And if you're not trying to be artistic, auto's pretty darn good. I don't use auto a ton, but I'm just saying, like, yo, like, if you don't know, throw it in auto. Just
and I feel like at least in your world, if you're not trying something, are you really doing what you want to do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Play.
You got to be in a state of play to design well. There's a Netflix thing. I try to make sure that I'm always playing. Like when I'm creating art, I'm playing. Just play.
Right. Well, and I think this segues good into something that I feel like you've probably ran into more times than not. Mistakes to avoid. Obviously, you know, you're gonna play with things because that's how you find out what works, what doesn't. But I guess, are there key things to avoid and not do, whether that's industry or photo or video? Like, give me 5 things you should 100% try to avoid.
5 is a lot. Maybe like 1 or 2. Let's just start at 1 or 2.
I don't know. Don't
go onto the grid at the Daytona 500 with a 360 GoPro camera in your mouth and show up with a camera with full memory cards.
Oh,
that'll bite.
Because I'm in the middle of no, batteries are fine. I can just reach in. No, I've got 2 memory cards in my camera, and I've been capturing footage all day. I had been capturing footage, and so I'm on pit road, blasting photos, and I get a notification, memory card's full, and so I have to stop what I'm doing on pit road.
Oh my goodness!
Delete 2 or 3 days worth of footage, which I knew I had already done a data dump on. Like they're already
right, but it takes
twice.
Time to dump
and I should have deleted them. I should have, but I just did. Well, I wasn't diligent enough on that, right? And it's just something. It's stupid, right?
Right.
Charge your batteries, back up your footage, clean your lenses, man. Freaking, if you've got a phone, if you're taking pictures on your phone, clean the lens.
Well, I think that's something that people forget, because you take this thing everywhere.
Yeah,
including
it's
the
in
bathroom
your pocket all the time.
Including the bathroom.
It slid under the seat in your car. When was the last time you vacuumed under your seat in your car? Yeah, that's gross. Clean your lens. Man. Yeah, that's my 3. Okay. I don't know.
I still think that's still some solid advice, because my wife over here has a cell phone that's full of shit.
What do you mean?
I had to go through and clean it out.
Oh, you mean like I have too many photos? Yeah.
Yeah. How you take photos if your phone's
I love taking pictures. I take pictures all the time.
Dude,
love
all the way back to 07. Yeah.
I
don't even know how stuff from 07 was on my phone.
Doesn't matter. Got to have it. Got to keep it.
I know. Like my son is almost 18, so the last 18 years of his life are on my phone.
I'd organize it by year.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of year, month, day. That's how I organize everything on my computer.
That makes sense, actually. That makes a lot of sense.
That's how I catalog everything. But that's what I do when I do. So I take my photos from like my phone, because I used to be really bad at never taking photos. Like if I'm not getting paid for it, I don't take pictures.
Right.
It's a terrible way to live life, but I'm trying really hard. And this new iPhone is so good because it's pship. But like I've started doing the thing, Robin, where like I'll every couple months I'll go in there and I'll plug my phone in and I'll do I call it a data dump. It sounds perverse. And then I'll take like, okay, February, and then I'll look at February, and then I'll like group them.
Right.
And I get really anal with it, so I can be like, oh, we went to the vineyard on this day. Yeah.
Right.
So
So you
But
put
it's,
it
I
it's
get
all
I get real
organized
documented.
off.
particular.
It's all
Yeah, I try
documented.
to.
Right. So the last thing that I got within this little segment here is, and I feel like it kind of depends on the angle at which you're going, but is building a personal brand worth it for what you do, or is it just better to have just kind of a portfolio and you don't necessarily have to have a brand?
Brands change.
Right.
I think that, like, if you go look at my personal page, and I've done the cleanse too. I've done a cleanse on my social media as well, and not a cleanse to like remove bad things. It's just to just tidy things up, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Like there's too many comments here or there, but I think that whatever you decide to post on your personal page is a business decision.
Yeah.
And so your personal page should be your home base. Whether this is right or not, I don't know. I just know that on my page, if you go to my personal page, you can go on my Instagram, and if something crazy were to happen, and it, you can go on my page, you can go on my Instagram, and you can say, oh, that's Chris's life, right? That's his social life. That's what he wanted people to know. Oversharing is a thing. I don't think you need to overshare. I definitely think you need to curate your personal image, and I think that that's a business decision and a personal decision. And I brand everything. I'm that weird guy that, like, I pay for YouTube Premium, and you can have 60 channels, and I've got a music channel, and I've got this, and everything's branded. I branded everything. So, and I know that, like, I mean, look at Revved Up and Stevens Motorsports. I mean, we've talked about how I think branding is unbelievably important. I mean, look at how influencers became a thing because your person could become your brand, right?
Right.
I'm not good at that. I'm good at managing people's brands. I don't have a brand. I'm weird, so I'll never be an influencer, right? I like
Those
being
are the best
able to.
influencers. In my opinion, the weird ones are the best ones.
Yeah,
I've wanted to
they got
vlog
those
building
stories.
our house, but
You should.
nah, I don't
That'd be
know.
kinda cool.
People would be looking at me and be like, "Oh my god, how'd y'all afford that?" And I'll be like, "Well, okay."
Well, see, that's the other side of it.
Then you have to explain
Yeah.
white privilege, right? So
Because then you're opening your life up for people to ask questions, and
Right.
that's where you have to decide, is that something I would want to do?
and I'm fine with it because I don't have. There's skeletons in my familial closet, but go find them and put them out there. What are you gonna do? It ain't gonna hurt
Right.
me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But so to answer your question, I think everybody should really do a case study on Cletus McFarland.
That's
That
a valid
dude-
point.
That dude, I think he's your age. I think he's younger
He's
than me.
32.
He's younger than both of us. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought he was only like 32.
And man, that guy, I've never met him. I met Squirrel at Daytona a couple years ago. But man, he is like, in the craziest way, so authentically himself while creating content, and they create it on their phones, man. Like every video he makes has and Whistling Diesel. A lot of the stuff he makes, it's on their cell phones.
Yeah.
And that's my whole thing of, like, the boundary to doing that is so low, but also what are you willing to reduce yourself to do that?
Right.
So that's a decision you have to make, which I know that most people listening to this would never do that. You're never going to do that. But essentially just be authentically yourself. Be professional. You gotta have some sort of branding. We've had this conversation. It's like your thumbnails. Your thumbnails have got to have, even if you don't like it, make them all look the same. Right. So that way people, like JD will tell you, like, his thumbnails all have a cohesion. It's a brand.
Right.
It's a branding. And you have to have that.
It's
like
an image, whether it's a color tint or something.
And my personal brand has changed. I used to have my logo on my avatar and Instagram, because that's what we did in 2015.
Right.
Right. And then you just take that down, you put something different up. It's all this whole social thing that we're doing. We're all living it, man. It's an amoeba. And God, this sounds like I'm freaking in here on shrooms or something. But it's people ask me all the time, oh, well, how's this caption? What do you think about this? I'm like, used to, you had to post between 4 and 6 o'clock. Now it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Dude, the world's like 24/7.
All the time. And it's just, man, whatever, if it feels right and you think it's going to make people feel good, do it.
Yeah. And I think that's really kind of how this all came about with the podcast and me and Robin trying to figure out, like, we wanted to bring this back and do something with it. And I think, in my opinion, and I'll let Robin speak for herself, but like bringing people cool stories to listen to, like, okay, yeah, I'm a video gamer who races, and I've met people in the industry, which is neat, and met people that aren't just in NASCAR. Even like we've got Phil with the whole dirt side of things with Freddie Carpenter and all that stuff, which I'd love to get those guys on for an episode. You took the time to sit down with us to talk about working with Richard and things like that. And there's a lot of people that say, oh, well, he's just friends with Chris because of Richard Petty. No, I became friends with Chris because Chris is a cool fucking dude.
Yeah, we were just bull crapping on, just driving on iracing.
Exactly.
But I think it's all about, and that's, I think the thing with social media right now, and I think the whole world is freaking grasping at, is genuine not genuine connection. God, that sounds so freaking.
No, I was gonna agree with you.
Namaste, but like
I was totally gonna agree with you.
But like, be yourself. Like, am I being myself right now? Yes. I mean, it's polished a little, right? But like people want. Yeah, it's like, listen, my room ain't perfect, but it's close enough. Like, I tell people when you come over to my house, I'm like, hey, sorry for the mess. I live here. And it's like, that's how we should all.
You got some cool shit in that room too.
Yeah, there's a hole in the floor. There's a hole in the floor right there.
I'm looking at that lit sign over there, which is pretty cool. You got various stuff from things that you've done, and it fits in with the sim racing. But yeah, like, everybody lives in their house, and I think the whole MTV Cribs thing is what ruined. Oh, my shit's got to be fucking spotless, but
I made it spotless for this podcast. Everything outside of this is like, God, he crammed that over there.
He's not telling you, ladies and gentlemen, he's got tape on the walls so he knows where the camera is.
Yep.
It's funny. I actually, I was talking with John Howe about this, because him and his wife used to do some online gaming and stuff, and he had it taped out where her camera could see. So before she would start her stream, she would make sure that everything was where it needed to be. And it just so it made it a quick, hey, what's in my shot?
Yeah, you could do like a.
Yeah. Yep. So you got to figure it out. But it's genius if that's where you stream from or make your content from. Hey, I need to make sure this angle is 100% the way I want it to look before I do anything. Boom.
Yeah. But again, like we said earlier, get it framed up. It don't have to be perfect. Do it, and then make it perfect later.
There you go.
For instance, if you're ever looking at the Petty Race recaps, every year we did a full season in 23, 24, 25. We're on 20. Did we do 23?
Yes, we did. Did you?
No, we did 23. We did 23. Okay. The first couple episodes of each year are not as good as episode 4 or race 4, right? Because no matter what you do, what I do, okay, when I'm a one-man band, is set it up, do your best, and then look at it on the big screen, put it out there, and then make tweaks.
Yep. Dude, I mean, you could go, some of the best streams are some of the old streams on this channel.
Oh, yeah.
Where Robin is sitting next to me in this very room. The rig's turned a completely different way. We don't even have 2x4s up. None of that shit. There's constant changing. This room's been under construction forever. But yeah, I mean, you're constantly tweaking, and things have gotten better over time. Don't get me wrong. I've got an actual podcaster mic now. Eventually, that's the plan for Robin as well as we continue to do this. But you're constantly upgrading, right? You're doing things.
Yeah, but don't let the bar for not starting. Like I'm not going to start because it's not quite as good as what AJ's got. Okay, AJ didn't start where he's at now.
Nope.
Right.
Nope.
So that's my point with just if you're gonna do content, do it, and just do it.
I agree. All right. So as we're slowly winding down here, I know there's some things that you can talk about, some things that you can't talk about. So I'm just going to preface that, but maybe a couple of stories from your life at the track with Richard. Like, yay, goofy one-off stories that would be fitting for this little segment.
Mm-hmm. It's always
because I have one.
My favorite thing, one of my favorite things. There's two favorite things. I love riding on a golf cart around a racetrack with Richard Petty, and I'm gonna set up a 360 camera. I'm gonna set it up, and then it's so funny because you'll be driving, and there's somebody on their phone, and we'll go right by him. And you've got somebody with their spouse, and they're on their phone. They're trying to figure out where they're supposed to go at the track. And then you've got their spouse with them, and the spouse is just walking. And they're like, "Oh my God, look there goes Richard Petty. Hey, honey, there's Richard Petty." And they look up and they're like, "Ah!"
Hold that machine.
It's the greatest thing ever. It is so much fun. And then, what else is that's so much fun is to ride around on a golf cart and just people, just random people, and you're 50 yards behind before they realize what happened.
I've been one of those people before.
Yeah.
And it wasn't to Richard, but it was in the most obscure freaking place that you'd ever run into a 6-time national motocross champion at your local racetrack. As you're getting ready to get on the bike that your brother's about to come in and hand to you, I see this gentleman. His name is Jeff Stanton. He's from Michigan. I see him walking out of the woods, and I'm putting my helmet on. I see the guy coming at me. I'm like, "You're Jeff Stanton," and he just kind of smirks and he goes, "Never heard of him."
No, I'm not.
You son of a bitch. But it was one of those things of like, I know that guy. I've seen him on TV before.
Dude,
so yeah, I kind of get
to have this much fame and be able to do that to people.
Oh yeah. Well, and like I said, so the one story that I got that involves your boss happened in Daytona in 2024. Like we talked at the top of the top of the whole podcast. Obviously, we all met up at Daytona. There was the running joke all weekend, especially with all the rain. I mean, it was nuts.
God, yes.
Rained that whole weekend. It's that. Like, I remember calling you at one point. I'm like, "Well, dude, we're not going racing. Where are you guys at?" Like, and nothing ever worked out. Well, we get down there for Monday. The race happens on Monday, and we ran into you coming out of the media center of all places. Because I even said to Robin, I said, "I wonder where the hell Chris is at." And all of a sudden she goes, "He's right there."
He's right there.
And I think I was flying, man. When I'm at the track, I'm just
because you were headed somewhere. You said, "I'll be back in like 5 minutes," and like fucking clockwork. All of a sudden you're calling me, and I'm like, "Okay." So we hung out for a while, and that's when Robin took one of my favorite videos that I've seen from a racetrack, which is Chris, and I'll put it up so you guys can see it. Chris is literally taking photographs from the top of the garage, looking down, and he's over there just kind of dancing while he's taking photos. And all of a sudden he's like, "Okay, what do you guys want to do?"
Again, we were talking about authentic, the most authentic moment.
Yeah.
Oh God, it was funnier than hell. But so Chris is gonna go get lunch. You remember this? How this all went down?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So Chris goes to go get lunch, and we walk over to the bar. Like, we're gonna go get drinks. It's hot, So we're standing there. I'm waiting in line. I think did Corn get a drink ahead of us, or maybe maybe none of us got drinks, but I'm literally standing there. Chris calls me. He says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm in line to get a drink. If I call you back in the next minute, you need to be ready to move. And I'm like, I'm one person from the bar. I hang up the phone. I am at the bar and I'm waiting for the lady to come over and take our drink order. It wasn't 10 damn seconds and my phone is ringing. He goes, "You need to move." And I go, "We're out of here." We booked it. So we get over where you're at. You get us in. You know, we wait a couple of minutes to meet Richard. And like you said earlier, if you ever get a chance to meet Richard Petty, probably the most authentic, gracious, and there's one other word
Down
that
to
I'm looking
earth?
for. No, a specific word that I'm thinking of. Humble. Probably one of the most humble, one of the most famous fucking people in the world. And I was starstruck. I'm not going to lie. A 7-time NASCAR champion. A guy that, you know, I'm named after a 4-time Indy winner, and this is his counterpart in the NASCAR world.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen to normal people like me. I met AJ Foyt a long time ago. I never figured in my life that I would ever meet Richard, but the funny part in all of this first is we start to walk away, and the first person to talk is my wife. And she turns and looks at me and Corn and goes, "He called me a little lady."
Yeah,
and so that's the first part. We're laughing about it. And me and Corn are just like starstruck. Well, as we're walking away, and I don't even think I told you this part, I literally bang shoulders with this short guy wearing a Penske hat with a mullet. I literally ran into Cup Series champion Ryan Blaney with my left shoulder.
And had no care in the world.
He turned and looked at me, and I looked at Corn. I go, "That was fucking Ryan Blaney." He goes, "Yeah, give a shit. I just got Richard Petty." But
dude,
I think for somebody that's as famous as Richard to be that humble, I don't think you see it I don't think you see it as much out of a modern NASCAR champion.
Agreed.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think it's just a different era, really.
Different era. It's there's a lot to that, but he in the most recent video I posted, it was staged. Like the little boy that took the hat to Richard and had him sign it. Like he had already stood in line. He had done his thing, and I saw him, and I was like, "Hey man, this will be a great video." Like, I went to his parents. I was like, "Hey, would you be okay with your kid being in the video?" And so then we moved Richard over to a different spot, so it was a little more attractive. But man, if you stand in line, if there's a line with Richard, and you're getting, and he's doing your autograph, he's gonna tell you thank you. He's gonna sign his name, thank you. And it's like I got that on video, and it's like, man, without my little 360 camera, strapping it onto that little hat, I've heard it 1,000 times, but like I didn't really hear it until he said it. But it's like literally for him, you'll hear him say it. You'll hear him say it on every documentary, right? There's a gazillion, but he'll say every autograph's a thank you. And by God, man, if you're standing in line with him, everyone is a thank you. It's not a scribble, right? It's not a that's my initials. It's like, no, that's his name.
Well, and you did a great video. You did a great video on well, it would have been last year where I think one of his daughters was talking about his signature and how he had to have it legible you knew it was his.
Yeah.
Like that's commitment too. And it's so much so, and I think Dale Jr. talked about it recently, that Senior did the same thing because of Richard.
Yep. So Richard, I from what I've heard from stories I've heard, like on the Dale Jr. download, and then I mean, my own experience, right? Of him seeing me sign my name and he goes, "What's that?" Right.
Right.
I think the first time Eric Jones and Richard, the first time Richard ever saw Eric sign his signature, I think I've got that footage somewhere. And because I had Eric or Richard mic'd up, and like Eric does this thing, and he EJ, and Richard looks at it and he goes, "What's that?"
Yeah.
And so he did that to me, and my wife will tell you right now, like when I sign my name like I'm a famous person, and nobody's ever asked for my signature because he looked at me and I've showed it to him, and he still doesn't like it.
How's anybody ever gonna know it's you?
Yeah, exactly. But but that's the attention to detail that just like people these days, when a lot of money in the business, right?
Yeah.
And that type of thank you, it's there's some drivers that still do it, and there's other ones that just don't care.
Well,
but
and I think too, and I just saw this in a recent video that Kyle was in, where I can't remember who he's walking around the museum, but he pointed out something very specific, and I never thought of this until I heard Kyle say it, because he's showing the station wagon, the one that they did for cars.
Yeah.
And he goes, it's because of that movie, Richard Petty has fans from 5 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably the most famous race car driver in the world because of a kid's movie that they now know him. Eventually, later on in life, they'll piece together who Richard probably was and that significance in that movie, because we all get nostalgic about stuff that we've seen. And you go, "Oh, I didn't realize that guy was tied to this because of that."
Yep.
But I think Richard has done a great job of keeping himself, I don't want to say available, but relevant to where he's still got new fans.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a part of that history of relevance, right?
Right.
But because, if I'm not there showing people like, yo, he's active. If I'm not running his social. Now, granted, it's what's the crazy part about Richard is that he wants to know what's on his social. He wants to know what's posted. He wants to know what did good. It's kind of crazy that at 80, he's soon to be 89, or is he going to be 90? He'll be 89. He cares about
years behind Foyt.
He cares about that stuff. Like he cares about it. And it's just, I don't know. I'm very blessed, and it feels like sometimes I'm just like, I work. That's the identity, is like you work for Richard, but
Well, and I think the funny thing in all of this is, and we touched on it right when we started the podcast. You work for a guy that you didn't even get to see his last, you would have been able to see his last race, but have zero knowledge, memory. I watched that race. I remember that race very vividly. And you learned about it technically as a historical event.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I tell people it's so funny because, like, we have had people drive us around on golf carts. When you go to a racetrack, people drive around on golf carts. We've had people drive us on golf carts that have driven around Jimmy Johnson, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, and they'll tell you there is nothing like riding around on a golf cart with Richard Petty. Part of it is because of the Cars movie, like you said.
Well, yeah.
Austin Petty's the one that he told me that, and he said it in a video that, and he had told me in private before we did the video that he didn't realize how famous his grandfather was until Pixar.
Seriously?
When you're in a Pixar movie, you're up here now, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is Austin the one that's in the video that I've seen where he goes for the ride at, I think it was Chicagoland?
No, it was Kyle Farlow. That was Sharon's.
Okay. I
son.
couldn't remember 100%. So
yeah.
God, that's.
I will say
wild to
so.
think about.
Talking about Pixar, one of favorite stories, my personal stories with Richard is last day of Goodwood. We were at Goodwood Festival of Speed. It was the 75th anniversary of the Petty family and racing. Phil, love Phil. Richard finds people. I'm one of those people that like, and Phil is his person in England. When he goes to England, he has Phil, and Phil does everything for him. And that is, Phil's the man. So last day of Goodwood, Kyle and Morgan get in a rental car and they depart, and they're going to spend a couple days by themselves in the Cotswolds, right? And then me and Richard have got to go back, and he's got some race he's got to go to, so I'm going with him, and Austin's going back home with us. And so we asked Phil, we're like, hey Phil, we want to go eat at a nice traditional pub. And so, and this is like a Sunday or a Monday, I can't remember what it was. And so Phil takes us to this pub, and it's like the oldest pub in this general area. So this pub was older than our country, right?
Right.
Dang.
And so, funny enough, the only people working there were like teenagers. So this girl's waiting on us. And Richard walks in, and he's got his belt buckle and his hat and his sunglasses. And we go in there, and we sit down, and she, we do the whole food thing. And me and Austin get up, and we go to like use the bathroom and pay the bill. And she looks at us, and she goes, and this girl, she was our waitress, and she was probably 20. And she goes, who is that man? And Austin said, well, do you know Richard Petty? And she said, no. And we said, he's a 7-time NASCAR Cup Series champion, 200 wins, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, stuff that people in England probably aren't going to pay attention to.
And then Austin goes, you know the movie Cars? And she was like, oh, yeah. And she goes, and he goes, you know the blue car with the wing? And she goes, yeah. And Austin goes,
that's him.
And she goes to the back. She goes and gets 4 or 5 people, and we start taking pictures. And it's like it's like 10 a.m. on a Sunday in England, and people are freaking out that it's Richard Petty.
From Cars.
It's not because he's a race car driver. It's because he's from Pixar.
Because he's in the movie.
And that's when he put it together.
Yep.
Okay.
That's really cool.
That, now I'm remembering, because I remember we talked that while you were over there at one point, because that's Adam's brother, right? Yep. Okay. That's what I thought.
It was Adam, Austin, Montgomery Lee.
Okay. Yep.
Well, it is Adam,
yes,
Austin, Montgomery Lee.
Right. So yeah, because I remember hearing some of the stories for that trip, which that sounded like an absolute blast. But
it was fun. Yeah. Very blessed.
All right. Well, yeah, like I said, I've heard some comical ones over the years, but
I forgot. Richard told me Richard told me I needed to start a diary. He said that to me in 2024, and I didn't do it, and now I regret it.
Dude, you should start writing things down. Like, just
I know.
Go.
I know.
But all right, well, we're gonna kind of start to wrap some things up. So the one thing that we kind of do when we do a podcast episode is kind of like a week or month in review. So I guess, Chris, I'll start with you. Like, what have you? Obviously, NASCAR season started. There's usually a lot of stuff you're working on. Anything special that you can hint, or specifically around race weekends that you've worked on recently? Just the usual Monday petty race recap.
So I have been pushing for a while. It's not that I've been pushing, but to capture and then post and promo and cut and all that with a 2-year-old and all that. Like it's a lot to do in one day for one person, but I'm really out on Monday afternoons. Dude, if the plane lands at 2 a.m. and we're not home till 3 and we don't get to sleep till 4, and we're going to record the race recap around lunch on Monday, and I try to get that thing posted so that if you want to know, and some people don't care, Some people, they see Richard Petty and they say, well, his last race was when I was 9 months old, right? People don't care. But also, for the people that do care, there's some of the most insightful information you're ever going to hear about the races that you watch is from them. And a lot of it's repetitive. I can't lie, from somebody that records it. But I ride to the racetrack with him. I ride home from the racetrack with him. I sit on the motorhome and watch races with him. I hear what he says. And when you watch the recap, you're hearing what he thinks.
Right.
He's sharp as a tack. I wish more people watched our recap, because when you go into the garage area, you would not believe how many people in the garage area come up to Richard and Dale and say, "Hey, watch your recap. This is what I think." Right?
I've watched a few of them, races that I've actually watched. Then I'll usually watch myself. And you're not wrong. Even though Richard's last race was over 30 years ago, it's still relevant. It's still relevant.
Yeah.
So
that's why that's my favorite piece of content that I do, is that I sit there and then I post. I ask the questions that I think are going to get answers that are going to get people talking, right?
Yeah.
And I think we don't shoot for an hour. He wants it to be 10 to 15 minutes of bite-sized pieces that when you're driving to work, and he said this to me. He's like, because he watches YouTube,
right.
And he says, I want it to be, he says, give me a mark when it's 10 minutes, give me a mark when it's 15, and then we'll wrap it up, because I don't want to go longer than that. He's all over it, man.
Well, I mean, in that way, he's really insightful. I mean, me and Robin have talked about length of things, right? Obviously, the podcast is always going to be longer.
Yeah.
If you want to get information out, 30 minutes max, because otherwise you lost people.
I'm more of a short form creator. The content that I create is short stuff. That's just I think that people watch that more, in my opinion. It's a quick scroll. They'll watch it, like it. And honestly, it's not that hard for me to do.
Right.
I mean, it's just a little bit easier than having to do a full video and editing the whole thing.
Shoot 5 or 10 minutes, get you a couple clips, roll on.
Yeah.
So,
it's more real.
But that's the one thing that it's not what I did not set out to like sit down and record. I set out to do cinematic stuff, right? And make stuff look real pretty, right? And then it's like, man, I've transitioned into, people don't want my cinematic take on things. They want to hear what this man has to say. And I capture what he has to say, and it's at his direction. And it's, I've got ideas that I present, and then it's yes or no. And I just hope that when people see Richard Petty's social, yes, it's not Richard Petty that's hitting post, but Richard Petty cares.
Right. He's looking at everything that gets posted.
And he's 89 years old, and he cares. And if I've got a microphone that ain't quite level,
he's going to know. He's going to tell you. Yeah. That sounds about right. That's pretty cool.
But that's why, man, like, I'm 34. If I want to live to be his age, I got to live another 50 years. So I ain't even halfway.
Yeah. True.
And that's how I'm living it.
Yeah. But all right, dear, what have you done this week? You haven't really raced much still.
I haven't. I have not really raced. I haven't done the Liberty League in like 2 weeks. What's the last thing I even raced?
I don't Daytona. Trucks at Daytona.
Oh wait, Trucks at Daytona. Yeah, I did Trucks at Daytona. But I think we've done a podcast since then.
We have.
So that was already talked about. And what Fast Car came back. So I've been doing race control again.
Yep. Which that was a huge success. That was actually pretty cool. I actually had quite a few viewers on that. So
that's great.
That was it's still a growing thing.
Race control is very difficult for anybody who would like to know.
Yeah. I don't want that job.
I don't blame you.
Are you sure?
I got one for you. So I've been running the Road to Pro thing. I've ran one since we recorded JD's episode. Rockingham in the trucks. Dude, I'll take an 87 at Rockingham all day long over the fucking truck.
Mm-hmm.
You know, shout out to PRS for the setup. Andrew Navarro's sitting second, the builder for the trucks. He's in second Road to Pro right now. I hope the man gets it, as much work as he puts in on some of this stuff. But I was not having fun. I had zero fun. And I'm going to say it right here on the podcast right now. I have pulled the plug on the Road to Pro season after the way that the first 3 races started, with basically 3 either top 20s or top 15s.
Yeah.
And I've been 6th split or higher, so I'm not even in the top fucking 100.
It's wild.
It's brutal, dude. It's fucking brutal.
I couldn't imagine.
And you know, I spent 2 years grinding. Robin knows this. I spent 2 years grinding iRating to get there, and to find out that now, I remember when 5K was like that was the bottom of the top split for that.
Yeah.
Now we're 6 to 8K.
Yeah.
Top split at Rockingham last week, 8.5.
I don't know how these guys are getting this iRating.
They
like
win.
Honestly,
they win
it's like
everything.
But like, how do they have all of the time in the world to just be in the sim?
Well, I'm pretty sure Maines and Navarro aren't married with kids.
Well, I guess that makes it easier, but
and they also don't have YouTube channels. So is my lack of showing in the race because my focus is elsewhere with a whole lot of other things? Probably. If I spent days grinding a track before we had Road to Pro, would it be a different outcome? Probably.
Yeah, but you went.
Yeah.
What?
Is it fun? Go ahead.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
No. Is it fun anymore though?
Oh, I still have fun with it. Don't get me wrong.
I don't know.
I like the challenge. You can ask my wife, you put me on a fucking racetrack and challenges are my game.
Yeah. Okay.
When I pull the bike out for a race, if I haven't rode in forever, buddy, I may be out of shape. I'm gonna give you everything I got. I will throw the fucking kitchen sink at it. And I may be dead. My wife may have to drive me home from the racetrack, but god damn it, did I try.
I love it.
So while I struggled with the first 3 races of Road to Pro, I'm looking to change my focus a little bit. And my focus right now is the next gen side of things. I've been working with Scott and Brandon over at PRS, kind of doing some testing there. I've enjoyed it so far. And I was a guy who hated the next gen. I did not care for it. So to have that switch and actually have fun with it is really cool. And then to kind of be a part of helping those guys build setups, whereas I'm the 87 builder, it gives me something different, kind of a different challenge. I don't know. Maybe I'll get proficient in the A car. That'll get my iRating to that 8K, and we'll be in a different position come next year. I don't know. But I think this year, with just where we're at, it's not worth my headache. I've got other focuses that I'm working on right now. So I think Road to Pro, I think I'm just going to sunset that this year. Me and Robert.
Dude, I remember when you were grinding for
play trivia.
Dude, I remember when you were grinding for 4K, and it's like now you can sit comfortable in it. And it's like,
dude, I'm damn near 5K.
I know. That's what it's like, man. Just keep at it.
Yeah, it's been a grind, but so I'm going to focus on the NIS for the rest of the year, and I don't have to put in a ton of focus to do the NIS, right? Like I go run a couple A opens, make sure we're good, be ready for Friday night, and the way that I'm treating it, we got one shot. Because that's all I got in Road to Pro is one shot. Mm-hmm. So if I treat every NIS as there's only one, that's it.
Yeah.
Practice.
Well, and use that as that focus to kind of push that next level of, hey, you got to get your ass moving. You need those points. You got to dig. And I think that's the part with Road to Pro that I'm missing, because I'm so used to the 87s where you got patience is the key, right? With these cars, you can't. You don't have the drafting ability, all that stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Just like in real life, baby.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a sim,
It's
remember, not a game.
It's infuriating, but it's what you got to deal with. Everybody's got the same rules.
Yep. So, but yeah, so to kind of segue into like what's coming up for me, you know, just keep grinding on the WN or I keep saying WNIS because that's what we were building for, but keep grinding on the NIS, you know, and I've got some videos that are coming out. Obviously I was talking to you before the start of the podcast about my wife's going to hate this, but it's an 1.5 hour long documentary thing over the summer, which I'm probably going to bounce ideas off of you because I have all
That'll be
this.
exciting.
It's going to be interesting. I got interviews, all that stuff. I keep teasing it because I think it's going to be really cool for the channel. My Jack Pine video from last year was one of my most watched videos of the entire year.
Nice.
I did one video on bike shit and everybody went nuts about it. So I'm kind of hoping if I spend the time with my whole idea with the 100th anniversary race, I'm hoping it'll be cool. So, all right, Chris, I know you get to miss a lot of the West Coast swing because, you know, Richard picks and chooses what he goes to these days. Anything like number one, I guess, what's your next thing there? But number two, when the hell am I going to find you on iRacing again?
Yeah.
Lord.
Daytona's in 4 weeks.
So I'm going to cover some of this up. So I've got my schedule in my cards there. Yeah. So we're not doing Coda or Phoenix. So sometimes that's because there's no rhyme or reason.
Right.
So not doing that. And then but then man, it's gonna be fun. So we're doing Darlington, drive to that. So from my house, Darlington, from here, so level cross, so where Petty Enterprises used to be, Darlington nowadays is about a 2-hour drive, right? So that used to be 3 hours on back roads.
My God.
And I love doing that drive. I did that drive in a Supra because I wanted to get the Supra and the Tundra in a photograph together in Darlington because like that, those are Richard's vehicles that Toyota gives him. It's a Toyota Post. Those are that's a perk of the job. So it's like, hey, I need to get a picture. Can I drive the Supra down? It's like it serves its purpose.
Right.
And then Martinsville, Bristol, we drive to all these.
I was gonna say they're all closed.
Kansas we fly to, and then Talladega's after that, and we do not go to Talladega. He went to Talladega. Last time he went was when Bubba drove for us. And you can catch me outside if anybody's got any opinions on that. So no, man, I'm fairly light, and I need it to be fairly light because I have got my wife and I have got a 4-week-old at home and a 22-month-old. So we closed on our house 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're full steam ahead at home.
And that's why I need these next 3 weeks off. But here's the thing. That's the thing with Richard, I need to take a picture of it, and I need to make a video of it. But if you look in the Petty Race recap on the wall in the background, they print off a month-long calendar, and his calendar goes Monday to Sunday. Most people go Sunday to Saturday or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right. His
day ends on Sunday, and his week starts on Monday, and that's how it is. So my wife on Saturday, she'll be, babe, so how's Wednesday next week looking? And I'm like, I'll know when I go into work on Monday. I'll know what the week looks like.
Yeah,
because we live Monday to Monday.
Right.
It's so much fun. It's stressful, but it's great. My week, my month, my March looks great. And so the answer to your next question is, when will I be on iRacing? If I can get my son to sleep before 9 o'clock, I need to do a better job because it's for me, and I need to focus on me sometimes.
Yeah.
I need to hop on Discord in our community because we have such a good community.
Mm-hmm.
God, it just makes me so happy when I am able to hop on Discord, even if it's for an hour, and sometimes I go to sleep on Discord. Happens. Just happens. Sometimes I'll just be zonked. But it's great because I love y'all. I'm so glad that I found the community that we found, and you guys contribute so much more than I do. It's a ton of fun, and I can't wait to hopefully maybe help you guys grow it one day.
I appreciate that, man. Like, it's
also shout out to all the stuff in the room.
All the stuff in the room, all the props.
Well, it's funny because the community's come such a long way from what it started as. I mean, now we were talking with JD about this during his podcast. Even you're talking 3 Discord servers, tons of people, hosted events. Robin's got her charity stuff,
dude.
We've got guys like you that are in the industry in there. So that's even. It's kind of cool to have somebody that's a friend that, like, when you talk NASCAR, well, I heard this at the track, or I heard that at the track because you're there all the time, or what would Richard think about this, or we've talked about what would Richard think about the sim thing, and I remember when we met him, you're like, hey, you remember them guys I told you about? They do the online racing thing, and he just kind of looked at you like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Probably thinks we're crazy, but
he said and that's the other thing where it's like, man, I should have recorded it, because he said something like he was goading me, and I can't remember what he said. Yeah, I can't remember what he said, but it was funny. But yeah, whatever.
But anyway,
Well,
wrapping things up, Chris. First, I gotta thank you for coming on and doing this, man. I know you put a hell of a lot of work into that setup from what you showed me earlier. But
it looks great.
Thank you for taking time out of your day to come on and do this and kind of talk about what you do a little bit. And I'm sure I'll have you on at some point again in the future, just even if we're just talking racing. But
thank
you.
I will say we didn't.
Oh God, yes,
Robin
I forgot about this. I will let you tell the
Robin.
story before we roll out. So Chris was starting to tell a story before we started.
Yeah.
So Robin, I have only ever been interviewed for my job once. I do a really good job of staying in the background. And so this here is only the second interview I've ever done for my job. But my first one, here you go.
What is that?
I'll have to have you get a good clear picture.
Oh, it is backwards. So,
but that was when you were still working doing the basketball thing, right?
I was a manager for the women's basketball team. So this is my school newspaper.
Oh, okay.
And so I, at the time, did #manager life in all my posts.
That's super cool.
And so the name of the title of the article by my buddy Andrew, I don't even know how to say his last name, Andrew Schuett, Schuett. I don't even know what he's doing now. But he did a little article on me.
That's
which
really
was
cool.
And my dad, he put this in a little frame, and I'm building a house where I will be able to hang this on a wall, but it's been sitting on the floor for 10 years. But you're the second person ever to interview me about the fun stuff I do.
I love that.
Which is
I'm glad.
cool.
I'm so glad that you agreed to do this, because like we've talked about, nobody ever gets to see your side of things. They only get to see what you're capturing. They don't get to see what you're putting into all of that. So thank you for sharing that with us.
And I know we could have went off on a lot more tangents tonight. There's tons of stuff we didn't cover, which is why I would like to do a second one.
Yeah.
In a few months, I think it'd be kind of fun. Definitely thank your wife for us for letting us steal you for, I don't know, 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours
with a newborn at home. So
it's okay.
But you want to go ahead and plug all the socials that you manage? That way we've got those all in here, and I'll make sure to put them in the description as well.
Yeah. So if you want to follow my personal, going back to personal versus professional brands. My personal brand that I live on, that I pretty much just kind of strictly do. If you want to know what I want you to know about my life, that's SULLIVVN. That's SULLIVVN. When I created that, I thought I'm being clever, but it's been nothing but a pain in my ass since I did it. Everybody's like, oh, SULLIVVAN. No. SULLIVVN. SULLIVAN. No, SULLIVVN. So if you don't find me,
maybe you spelled it wrong.
Oh, God.
Keep trying
different spellings,
different combos. My profile picture is my eyeball, right?
Yep.
I've been wanting that shot forever, and I actually got that shot. Funny enough, I got the shot of my eyeball. My son was sitting on we had a little tractor out here, and I just was sitting, and I had my camera propped up on my knee and a macro lens, and I was like looking at the sun like this and taking my picture.
Did it give you a headache?
Yes, and I was crying. So, like, if you look at my profile picture, you can see a tear.
I actually thought it was your newborn's eye.
No,
when
it's
I saw
mine.
that you changed it, I thought that it was your newborn's eye. I was like, oh, that's cute.
So funny enough, Cameron, he's 22 months old. So my eyes are like blue-green, and my son's eyes, Cameron's, his are crystal blue. Oh my gosh,
dude, I've seen that.
Something I want to do this weekend is I want to get a nice close. I have an idea. I want to hold him and put his two eyeballs even with mine, right? Mm-hmm. And then go get a picture. And I want to do the same thing with my wife and his eyes. My wife's eyes are brown, right? But I want to get that picture because he has my eye color, but when you look in his eyes, you see my wife, right?
Yeah.
And I want to capture that.
My son has that. He has my eyes, and he has my eye shape, but he has his dad's eye color.
Yeah.
So I completely get what you're saying.
So that's my project this weekend, but that's a personal thing. So if you want to follow what I'm posting, the Richard Petty on Instagram, Facebook, X. I stopped posting on TikTok because they changed their stuff, and I didn't want them to have access to my phone.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. Yep. And then Petty Family Racing, the YouTube channel. That is where we've grown that. Every video on there is pretty much like I've end-to-end created that. So if you're like, wow, I don't like the way that subtitle looks, or I don't like the way that lower thirds, name looks. Okay, well, I created that. I'm sorry that you don't like it, but that's what I did. And so I managed that. Woods of Terror, I did that for forever. And the whole reason I own a lot of the equipment I do is the Woods of Terror in Greensboro, North Carolina. You can find that. Bone Daddy, Eddie McLaurin, he is a massive mentor of mine. I would not be where I am without Eddie McLaurin at Woods of Terror. He wanted me to come work for him this year, and I was like, he asked me, he was like, do you think Richard's going to let you go? And I said, I don't think so. I'm sorry. And then Holiday Tours, the bus company, is probably where I'm going to go work when I'm done with Richard, or when Richard's done with me. But that's part of being a creative. You never know where your next paycheck's coming from. But like we talked about, if you bust your ass and dig, and you can do this as long as you want to.
I like it. Well, like I said, I'll make sure to put the links down in the description of the video.
Perfect.
If you're listening over on Spotify, head over to the YouTube. You can find all that stuff over there. Yes, we're on Spotify, Chris.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Can you believe that?
Oh my goodness. Chris doesn't have Spotify, so he doesn't care.
I don't have Spotify.
See, you give a link to all your friends.
Yeah. Your Spotify
All right,
friend.
I'll send it to you guys. Thanks.
See, there
I'll take it.
As far as the next guest, I don't have that lined up yet. I've got to work on that. We wanted to make sure that we got Chris all recorded before he had to take care of all of his duties, especially, like I say, with a newborn at home. So hopefully I'll have that lined up, and we'll tease that as we get closer to. But as always, guys, remember why we kind of started this thing. Number one, we want to bring you guys, people from the industry, people on sim racing that are fun people to be around. Chris is probably one of my closest friends at this point. So you can make a lot of cool friends, even gaming. I mean, that's crazy to say.
Like, everybody's human. We all do sim racing together. We get into arguments, but just remember, we're trying to bring everybody together. So we're bringing you new people. We're bringing you, what's it called when you're bringing people together?
Community.
I don't know. Yeah.
Community.
So just remember, everybody's human, and let's forgive people.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
Yep.
So,
love each other.
There you go. So for me,
it's not this, it's this.
Oh, good Lord, he's going too far with it. But but for me,
you should do this too, AJ. Then you can make it the thumbnail. All of us can just put a heart.
There you go.
That's perfect.
Nice. There you go.
But for me, Robin, everybody that's been on this podcast so far, thank you guys for listening. Chris, again, thank you for coming on. We hope you guys all enjoyed it. And if you've got any topics, subjects, things like that, leave a comment down below. We'll see what we can bring to you guys on the next episode. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night.